and Youth Affairs, Mr. Sunil Kumar Gamage, Your Excellency, Mr. David Pine, Ambassador of New Zealand in Sri Lanka, President Sri Lanka Rugby, Pavitra Fernando, Ravi Javadana, Group CEO Maliban, Mr. Poshita Pereira, Group Head of Corporate Communications Maliban, our title sponsor, representatives of our gold, silver, bronze, and other partner sponsors, Sri Lanka Rugby trustees, Sri Lanka Rugby Foundation members, members of the Executive Committee of SLR, distinguished guests, our friends of the press and media, ladies and gentlemen. My overview will briefly outline and cover the purpose of this tour, the benefits it brings us, and of course, the key itinerary events that this tour of the National Under-85 New Zealand team will entail. Before I kick off, let me tell you that to get this tour organized and finished, the organizing committee pretty much has burnt the candles at both ends, leaving our sanity just as short as the candle. Why? Because planning a rugby tour will definitely burn you out, trust me. The tour is about developing and planning a relationship between New Zealand rugby and Sri Lanka rugby, developing the sport in our country and showcasing our culture and beautiful country to the world as a sports and tourist destination. While the 80 minutes on the pitch will be intense and physical over the two tests, the relationships of it generally last a lifetime, as most rugby people will know. Just to briefly tell you a little about the history of the All Blacks and Sri Lanka, they first came to Ceylon in 1907, which was just 1 year after the first game between the schools was played in Sri Lanka in 1906. The ABs won that game 33-8. And as Ravi mentioned, the New Zealand Colts came in 1955, and the legendary Colin Meads was a part of that team. And they played 4 games against All Ceylon, and many great All Blacks eventually came from that tour. In 2025, as Ravi mentioned, after 70 years, the first ever tour undertaken by a New Zealand national under-85 club was made to Sri Lanka under the patronage of legendary All Black coach Sir Graham Henry, in whose name the trophy is being played for. It's important to mention that what started as a quiet conversation between him and our very own national rugby legend Inti Marika in a living room in New Zealand became a historic first ever tour to Sri Lanka last year with profound success. Rugby, as we all know, is a game created by physicality today, and a weight-restricted version gives opportunities for nations outside the top tier to be able to compete based on skill and ability. Last year, both games saw spectacular rugby being played against record-breaking crowds at both venues. These tours not just offered great opportunities to our players and rugby enthusiasts, but it also has given lasting memories and fulfilled dreams of weight-restricted players from New Zealand to don a black jersey and represent their country, a game that is akin to a religion in their nation. Last year, I was personally told many stories from the tour group, how overwhelmed they were from their arrival at the airport, welcomed by our Sri Lanka tourism dancers and drummers who showcased our culture in an experience beyond their wildest dreams. For rugby players from very humble and modest recognition back home, to see spectators using ladders to get into the venues in Nittavala, to the ground filling beyond its capacity and swamping the team in adulation at the end of the game are experiences those boys will never ever forget. This is the spirit of our island, and a nation that brings sport and showcases to the world what a lovely and welcoming nation we are. To summarize the key events of the tour, 2 tests will be played this time, one at Racecourse on the 25th of April under lights, and one on the 3rd of May at Nittavala during daytime. There will be 2 community sessions for local young rugby players from around the country. One will take place in Colombo on the 29th of April, and one on the 1st of May at Trinity College grounds in Pallakere. There will also be 2 coaching sessions for local coaches on the 24th of April at CRNFC in Colombo and on the 29th of April at Nithawala in Kandy. In between, there will be many opportunities planned for sponsors and tourism engagements. And this will give our sponsors and Sri Lanka tourism great social media content to showcase their brands and the potential for tourism in Sri Lanka. This year, additionally, we have the great privilege of welcoming All Black great 2-time Rugby World Cup winner and 52 Test All Black captain Kiran Reid as our guest of honor for the tour. During his stay here, he will feature in a fireside event at this very hotel on the 27th of April under aegis of our title sponsor, Melbourne, which entails a sumptuous dinner and beer to moot. This will be a great opportunity for corporates and rugby enthusiasts to be in the company of this All Black great, who will be interviewed by renowned rugby journalist from New Zealand, Mr. Jamie Wall. Kiran Reid will also attend both the community events for school rugby players in Colombo and Kandy and be the guest of honor. During his visit here, there will be opportunity to attend as a part of his visit to our country. Shared with the tour and help support increased tourism opportunities, not just from New Zealand, but also the Asian region, as both games will be broadcast live in New Zealand on Premier Rugby networks and all 37 rugby playing nations in Asia who are members of the Asia Rugby. Sports tourism can also be a great opportunity on the back of such tours and the exposure it brings to the country. Last year, with the tour, a black forest was established in Kegol, allocated by the Forest Department, honoring all the All Black players attained by the Kagalu Girls High School in Kegol. The intention is to the environmental initiatives and the Green Up Future Generation project undertaken by this school. In conclusion, I would like to thank all our sponsors for all the generous and support extended to us to make this a feasibility. Our title sponsor, Melbourne, who have become the bedrock of rugby in Sri Lanka over the past 18 months. Commercial Bank, who are showing a great interest in supporting rugby as a part of their community outreach. Sri Lankan Airlines for the generosity in supporting the team and the VIPs in getting to our beautiful country. Sri Lanka Tourism, who fully support and encourage such undertakings to help increase sports and general tourism in Sri Lanka. City of Dreams, who continuously support as a hospitality partner, and Access Motors, who never fail to step up to support national rugby in Sri Lanka. Aiken Spence Travels, Haley's Mobility, Prima Kottumi, SLT POTV, and the Papare are sincere appreciation in making this tour the success it will be by your gracious support. To CRNFC and Trinity College, Kandy, your continued support in using your facilities for the community engagement projects without charge is greatly appreciated. A special appreciation from rugby to the Honourable Minister of Sports, who has become a great strength in supporting the development of the game, and I believe has become one of his favourite sports. Not just as a line minister, but as a keen enthusiast and fan of the game. He is now truly a rugby person. Last but not least, to my fellow candle burners from the organizing committee, especially Sri Lanka Executive Director Hassan and Event Coordinator Romario, your time and effort in making this tour the success it will be is greatly appreciated. Our work-life balance is now akin to a vertical line. With many more rugby events planned this year in Sri Lanka, like the Asian 15s competition, the Asian Club Championships tournament in Sri Lanka, the quest for a medal at the Asian Games, and one leg of the Asian 7th series here in Colombo, your sponsorship and continued support to support Sri Lanka is greatly appreciated, and may long it continue. May the best team win the Sir Graham Henry Trophy, but may we all be better for having made this tour the success it will be for the brands and for tourism in Sri Lanka. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rohan. You and your team certainly have your work cut out for you. It takes a village, and Maliban are the title sponsors, but there's been so many who saw the wonderful response to last year's couple of games, the tour, and have come forward to support not just Sri Lanka Rugby, but the initiative and the youth of this country who have something to look forward to. Many of these kids saw a haka for the first time performed by a New Zealand representative team with their own eyes, which is something many people in Sri Lanka will never get the opportunity to do. And that's something that's the kind of thing that this tour brings forward for many of us. And we've got several sponsors on board who we'll talk about a little later, but now to address as the gold sponsor of this tour, I'd like very much to call upon Ms. Ashani Senaratne, Assistant General Manager Marketing of Commercial Bank.
Hope you can see me. With all this. Good evening to all of you. It is a pleasure as the gold sponsor and the official banking partner, Commercial Bank, to support this New Zealand under 85 kilograms Sri Lankan tour. Actually, this association with the Sri Lanka Rugby is not something that ad hoc or most recent, because we have been supporting them throughout these years. And last year also we supported their most key events like Emirates Sevens and World Cup qualifiers, etc. So why we support Sri Lanka Rugby is through this journey, what we witness is that three things. One is that the fans of this sport are very enthusiastic and energetic, and they are very much engaging with the sport. And the second thing is that the team, their dedication, and also they are well disciplined. So third one is about how this sport brought attention, global attention to our country. So as we believe that rugby can play a vital role in this, because we believe this country has a very much potential in creating a destination for sports. So this destination, creating this destination, we strongly believe that rugby can play a very pivotal role. I think not only us, all the partners here today are very confident that they will further strengthen their position in international stage and create a very meaningful avenue to create our country as a destination for sports. So let me thank you for letting us, giving us the opportunity to partner with you for this amazing sport. And also, I would like to wish you all the very best for both teams, and we are excited and we are eager to see a very interesting and very happening tour ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ashani Senaratne, Assistant General Manager Marketing of the gold sponsor Commercial Bank. Now to a gentleman who has run a silent support line, to use the rugby parlance, a Josh Cronfeld type of player who turns up just when he is needed. I speak of a real supporter of Sri Lankan rugby. He might even be classified a traitor in his own country because he is such a big supporter of Sri Lankan rugby, and we're very, very grateful for his support. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome His Excellency Mr. David Pine, the High Commissioner of New Zealand.
Well, thank you very much, Honourable Minister Sunil Gamage. Great to see you again. President Pavitra Fernando. Of course, my good friend Ravi Jayawardena. distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and especially all the troublemakers over there who seem never to be happy unless they're conspiring to organise another New Zealand team to come to Sri Lanka. At the heart of everything that we do, and one of the biggest troublemakers is there actually. I thought you'd be sitting over there, Inti. At the heart of everything we do at the New Zealand High Commission are two core beliefs. The first one is an unshakable confidence in the future of this country. We believe that the challenges that this country has faced over the last 15, 20 years and come through time and time again can't keep rolling on forever, and that at some point better times are ahead, and that when the better times come, this country, with its talented people, its perfect location, its beautiful island home, is better placed than most to succeed. And we really believe in the future of this country. And the second core conviction that motivates us is that New Zealand and Sri Lanka can get a lot more out of the relationship that we have than we have been getting. This is not to be ungrateful for what we are getting. We have the foundations of a very, very strong relationship. We have it through migration. We have a thriving Sri Lankan community contributing a lot to New Zealand. And as two small democracies in a world that knocks small democracies around, we have a lot of support to offer each other. But we feel that we're at the beginning of something rather than even being at the middle of it. And we, following from those convictions, believe that the most important thing we can be doing right now is lifting awareness of each other's countries in each other's countries. And we have data that shows us that the awareness is actually still lower than we think it should, than we think it is, and that we're lower than we want it to be. And so a big part of our effort is on simply this issue of raising awareness. And one of the keys to it is our mutual love of the sport of rugby. And we really unlocked something special last year with this tour. I think Rohan described so beautifully the impact that it had on the players, how meaningful it was to them, but all those incredibly positive images, the exciting rugby that was played, but just the general sense of goodwill around that tour. All those images beamed back to New Zealand and got us a huge audience. And so it's just incredibly valuable to have the opportunity to do it all over again on a second date, as you say. That's even more exciting than the first. When I look at the list of sponsors and partners on that wall, on that screen there, they include businesses with which New Zealand has already long established relationships, like New Zealand only last week trying to build up those tourism numbers and get more New Zealanders and Australians visiting this country. And all of those companies are companies that we want to see doing more business in New Zealand and doing more business with New Zealanders. We think the whole tour has been put together with such great care by everybody. We call it in New Zealand, we call it manaki, but a genuine spirit, a genuine caring, a genuine respect that is really the secret behind the magic of last year, and we're so confident in the partners that we're dealing with this year. We're looking forward with confidence to the rugby. I think it's fair to say last time we really didn't know how the teams would match up because this whole weight restricted category is a new thing, but we found that the teams matched up very well and that we had great rugby in both games. We're going to have even better and even closer games this year, and I'm not placing any bets actually. So we'll have to see who wins. But you know, we know that we really do believe in this version of rugby with weight restrictions put on it that enables really talented people to compete on an equal scale. It doesn't help necessarily when your chief sponsor makes such delicious biscuits to keep them in their weight category, because I can guarantee they were under 85 kilograms when they arrived in Sri Lanka. I'm not sure quite what weight they were at by the time they left, because the hospitality was so wonderful. But with all that, I'm just here to say that on behalf of the New Zealand government, we really are very, very grateful to Sri Lanka Rugby, for we know how much work goes into this. We're very grateful, Minister, for the support from the government, and we're looking forward to a tremendous tour next month. Thank you.
Thank you very much, High Commissioner Pine, and this certainly wouldn't be possible to the extent that it is without your generous cooperation and bigging up, if I could use that phrase, Sri Lankan rugby and Sri Lanka itself to your countrymen. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very honored to have him here with us and to tell us a little bit more about his involvement and the tapestry of sport here in Sri Lanka and what this tour means, not just for rugby players, but for the country as a whole. It's my great pleasure to welcome now the Honourable Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports, Mr. Sunil Kumara Gamage.
සුබ සන්ධ්‍යාවක් සියලු දෙනාටම විශේෂයෙන් මේ අවස්ථාවට සම්බන්ධ වෙන නිව්සීලන්ත හයි කමිෂනර් මිස්ටර් ඩේවිඩ් පයින් ඒ වගේම අපේ රග සම්මේලනයේ සභාපති පවිත්‍ර ප්‍රනාන්දු ඇතුළු සියලු දෙනාගේ අවසරයි. මම හිතන්නේ අද අපිට ලංකාවේ රග ක්‍රීඩාව සම්බන්ධයෙන් විශේෂ දවසක්. අපිට ඊ අවුරුද්දේ මේ පළවෙනි වතාවට තමයි අපි මේ නිව්සීලන්ත under 85 රග ටූර්නමන්ට් එක ලංකාවේ පටන් ගත්තේ. අපිට එතකොට උමනාවක් තිබ්බ ලංකාවේ රග ඉස්සරහට ගෙනියන්න. මොකද අපි ගිය පාර මේක මතක් කරා. අපි එනකොට ලංකාවේ රග වැටලා තිබ්බේ. තහනම් කරන කට ගාව තිබ්බේ රග. නඩු 8ක් තිබ්බා. රග ෆෙඩරේෂන් එකක් තිබ්බේ නැහැ. එතකොට අපේ වගකීම තිබ්බේ රග ෆෙඩරේෂන් එකක් හදලා නඩු ඉවර කළා ලංකාවේ රග ඉස්සරහට ගෙනියන්න. ඉතින් අපි ඒක සාර්ථකව කළා. අපි පවිත්‍ර ඇතුළු කණ්ඩායමක් ගෙනල්ලා රග ෆෙඩරේෂන් එක හදලා ඉලෙක්ෂන්ස් තියලා අපි රග්බි සෙවන්ස් වල 12 හිටපු ටීම් එක තුන්වෙනි තැනට ආවා. ඒ වගේම අපි මේ නිව්සීලන්ත ටුවර් එක අපි කරා ලොකු කොස්ට් එකක් දරලා මම හිතන්නේ ඒ මහන්සිය ඒ උත්සාහය අපි ගත්ත දේ දැන් ඉස්සරහට යනවා. දැන් අපේ ලංකාවේ රග ක්‍රීඩාව නැවතත් අර සුපුරුදු ට්‍රැක් එකට වැටිලා ඉස්සරහට යනවා. ඉතින් අපි සන්තෝසයි දෙවෙනි වතාවටත් මේ නවසීලන්ත කණ්ඩායම ලංකාවට ඇවිල්ලා මේ රග ටූර්නමන්ට් එක මේ තරඟය පවත්වන එකට අපි දින දෙකක් මේ තරඟය කොළඹ සහ නුවර පවත්වනවා. මම හිතන්නේ ගිය සැරේත් විශාල සෙනඟක් මම හිතන්නේ කොළඹ ඉඩ මදි නුවර අපිට ඉඩ මදි වුණා මට මතක හැටියට ප්‍රේක්ෂකයන්ට එන්න. මේක අපිට විශාල අවස්ථාවක්. මම හිතන්නේ අපේ හයි කමිෂනර් මේකට සෑහෙන්න උදව් කරා අපිට. ඒ වගේම මේක පිටිපස්සේ තවත් ගොඩක් අය ඉන්නවා මේ තරඟාවලියත් එක්ක අපිට උදව් කරන. විශේෂයෙන්ම අපේ ඉම්ති මරිකා අපේ ස්පෝර්ට්ස් කවුන්සිල් එකේ ප්‍රියන්ත රොහාන් මේ බෑක්බෝන් එකත් එක්ක තමයි පවිත්තුළු අපේ කණ්ඩායම මේ තරඟාවලිය මෙහෙවන්නේ. ඒ නිසා අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා අපේ රටේ ක්‍රීඩාව මෙතනින් එහාට ඉස්සරහට ගෙනියන්න හැම අංශකින්ම. මොකද අපිට මගේ අමාත්‍යාංශයට ලියාපදිංචි වෙච්ච ක්‍රීඩාවන් 75ක් තියෙනවා. ඒකට අපේ වගකීම තමයි මේ 75ම ලංකාවේ ප්‍රොමෝට් කරන එක. ඒකට හැම ක්‍රීඩාවක්ම අපි ඒ මට්ටමට ගෙනියන්න ඕන. ඒ වෙනුවෙන් අපි මැදිහත් වෙනවා. ඒකට අවශ්‍ය කරන වැඩ කටයුතු අපි කරනවා. සමහර ක්‍රීඩාවන් ගොඩක් පිටිපස්සේ ඉන්නේ. නමුත් අපිට ලෝකේ ජය ගන්න පුළුවන් ක්‍රීඩාවන් විශාල ප්‍රමාණයක් තියෙනවා. අපි ගිය අවුරුද්දේ පටන් ගත්තා මිෂන් ඔලිම්පික් 28 කියන ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එක. අපි අමාත්‍යාංශය එක ප්ලේයර් කෙනෙකුට මාසෙකට රුපියල් 2,10,000ක් ගෙවනවා මේ වෙනකොට සමහර ප්ලේයර්ස්ලට ස්පෝර්ට් එක ඩෙවලොප් කරන්න. ඉතින් ඒ අතින් අපි ස්පෝර්ට් එක ඩෙවලොප් කරන්න සෑහෙන්න මැදිහත් වෙලා තියෙනවා. මේ නිව්සීලන්ඩ් ටුවර් එකටත් අපි අපේ ලොකු කොස්ට් එකක් අපි කොටසක් මේකේ අපි අමාත්‍යාංශයේ විදියට දාරනවා. මොකද අපිට ඕන ලංකාවේ ස්පෝර්ට් එක ඉස්සරහට ගෙනියන්න. ස්පෝර්ට් ඉස්සරහට ගිය තරමට ස්පෝර්ට් එක ලංකාවේ හැමතැනම හැමදාම තියෙනකොට මිනිස්සුන්ට අර විනෝද වෙන්න සතුටු වෙන්න විශාල අවස්ථාවක් ලැබෙනවා. මම හිතන්නේ ලංකාවේ පළවෙනි වතාවට තමයි අපි කතා කරලා මේ පාර ලීග් ෆයිනල් මැච් එකක් අපි ගැහුවේ. එදා විශාල සෙනඟක් ඇවිල්ලා හිටියා මැච් එක බලන්න. ගොඩක් සතුටු වුණා. ඉතින් අපිට පුළුවන් මේක තව ඉස්සරහට අරගෙන ගිහිල්ලා ලංකාවේ ක්‍රීඩාව දියුණු කළා අර මිනිස්සු සතුටින් ඉන්න ජාතියක් බවට අපිට පත් කරන්න ක්‍රීඩා කරන විනෝද වෙන සතුටු වෙන ජයග්‍රහණ අත්පත් කරගන්න ජාතියක් බවට පත් කරන එක තමයි අපේ අරමුණ සහ අපිට වැඩක් විදියට තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් මේ වෙනුවෙන් මැදිහත් වෙන සියලුම දෙනාට මම ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා. I especially thanks Mr. David Pine, High Commissioner to New Zealand High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, because he was the man who behind this game, and he's always supporting us to do this tour, and he always giving helps whatever he can do. So I give special thanks to Mr. David Pine, and thank you very much for everybody. මම හිතන්නේ බොහොම ස්තුතියි සියලු දෙනාට.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. And now it is my great pleasure to welcome onto stage for the official recognition of the sponsorships and photo opportunities as well to the presentation parties of the sponsors as well as our recipients of these wonderful sponsorships. The recipients will be handing over a signed jersey of the Sri Lankan team as well. And to receive those sponsorships, I'd like to call upon President of Sri Lanka Rugby, Mr. Fernando, Deputy President of Sri Lanka Rugby, Mr. Shanita Fernando, if he's here, Mr. Imti Marika, who is the tour coordinator, who is the man who is behind this entire tour, Mr. Hassan Singawansa, CEO of Sri Lanka Rugby, and Mr. Rohan Abekun, Chairman of the Organizing Committee. If you can all please come onto stage, and the sponsors will be called up to exchange the checks. Ladies and gentlemen, the first check from our title sponsor, and I'd like to call upon Group CEO of Melbourne Group of Companies, Mr. Ravi Jayawardena, accompanying him, Mr. Posita Pereira, Group Head of Corporate Communications, and Deshibandu M.R. Latif, Senior DIG of the SCF, Group Head of Security, Melbourne Group of Companies. Please come up on stage to exchange the checks. Thank you very much to our presentation party from Mount Titan Sports. Thank you, gentlemen. And if I could next invite onto stage to hand over her gold sponsorship check, the AGM Marketing of Commercial Bank PLC, Ms. Ashani Senaraka.
One is to be. Get the ball down.
Thank you very much to our gold sponsor, Commercial Bank PLC. Thank you very much to Ms. Ashani Senaraka. Thank you very much. And now for our silver sponsor, ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to welcome onto stage General Manager Sales of Access Motors, Mr. Sanjay Jayasinghe. Access Motors, our silver sponsor.
Why can't you stand?
POTV, the Deputy General Manager for Brands and Marketing of SLT Mobitel, Mr. Indika Amarasuriya. Our bronze sponsor, SLT Mobitel POTV. Thank you very much to our bronze sponsor, SLT Mobitel. Thank you, Mr. Indika Amarasuriya. And now for our sponsors, Kottumi, who have been supporting Rugby now for a while, of Agro-Food Ceylon. It's my great pleasure to welcome the General Manager of Agro-Food Ceylon, Mr. Sajid Gunaratna, accompanied by Mr. Atana Ramanayaka and Ms. Kimpa Gunawat.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And our next sponsor, Haley's Mobility, ladies and gentlemen. Chief Executive Officer of Haley's Mobility, Mr. Rajiv Fernando, accompanied by Mr. Amir Hamdi, Manager, Haley's Mobility Limited.
Buddy. All good? Yeah, good, good, good.
Thank you also to Deputy General Manager of Marketing and Corp Comms, Ms. Naduni Visanaika from Haley's Finance Limited, our bronze sponsor, Haley's Finance and Haley's Mobility. And now for our broadcast partner, ladies and gentlemen, the Papare Dialogue. I'd like to welcome Mr. Dishan Desai, head of the Papare, the broadcast partner for the events. Thank you very much, Mr. Dishan Desai, head of the Papare, who are the broadcast partner for the second year running. And now for our transport partner, Aitken Spence Travels, I'd like to welcome Mr. Nalin Jayawardena, Managing Director of Aitken Spence Travels, and Mr. Nalin Jayasundara, and Mr. Suranga Ratnayaka, Chief Operating Officer, Aitken Spence Travels. Thank you very much to our transport partner. Thank you to Mr. Nalin Jayasundara and Mr. Suranga Ratnayaka. And our hospitality partner, ladies and gentlemen, Cinnamon Life at City of Dreams. And I'd like to welcome the head of commercial Colombo Hotels, Cinnamon Hotels and Resorts, Ms. Victoria Fur, to come up to the podium. Thank you once again to our hospitality partner, Cinnamon Life at City of Dreams, Victoria Food. And now our destination partner, finally, ladies and gentlemen, Sri Lankan Airlines, as usual, Mr. Nirina Patirana, Manager of Corporate Events and Promotions, Mr. Rakita Gunadasa, Head of Digital Communications and Social Media Manager, and Mr. Primal De Silva, Director of Airport and Aviation. Our destination partner, Sri Lankan Airlines. Thank you very much once again to our travel partner, Sri Lankan Airlines. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And if I can ask Rohan, please to stay on stage. Rohan, Pavitra, and Imti for a Q&A session with the media. They'll bring the chairs up for you, gentlemen. So it's a Q&A session for members of the media who... if I could ask His Excellency, Mr. David Pine, also to join up on stage for the Q&A. So, ladies and gentlemen of the media, you've been waiting patiently for an opportunity, I'm sure, to quiz these gentlemen about the nitty-gritties of the tour. So now is your opportunity. Mr. Pavitra Fernando will be with us in a moment, and all the questions can be directed towards His Excellency Mr. David Pine, towards Mr. Rohan Abekun, who is the tour organizing chairman, and of course the man whose brainchild it all was Mr. Inti Mareka and SLR President Mr. Pavitra Fernando. Any questions, ladies and gentlemen of the media? Sijatla Karavita, can we have a mic for the... Just bringing one over, guys. Thanks.
Shanak, I want to post this to Pavitra. Is Pavitra there?
He'll be back in a moment. He's just escorting the Honorable Minister out. If there's a question for one of these three gentlemen, we can start with that. Don't mind. The question is that last time the Graham Henry Trophy, and is it going to be in his name this time as well?
මෙදා පාරත් සර් ග්‍රම් හෙන්රි ට්‍රෝෆි එකට තමයි සෙල්ලම් කරන්නේ. නමුත් මේ පාර ගෙස්ට් ඔෆ් ඔනර් විදිහට එන්නේ ෆෝමර් ඕල් බ්ලැක් කැප්ටන් කිරන් රීඩ්.
Hello. If this question is for you, how do you see the weight category? How do you weigh them at which time of the matches? The weight category.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't understand that.
The weight category, whether the players are below 85, how do you weigh them? At which time?
I think when this concept was discussed originally, all these players come from the under 85 category. But because we are on open category, except for the front three, which is restricted to 105 kg, everybody else is like, I mean, we can even have a 150 kilogram center or a lock. So I think they have, I mean, majority of their guys would be around 85, but there will be a few who are over. Yeah. But they are selected from the under 85 category, obviously, because when they are playing such bigger opposition, like our forwards, we had last year when we played, I think we had 2 locks who were 115 kilos. So obviously, I mean, you know, they'll have to have some sort of maybe 3, 4, 5 kilos extra.
Pavitra series against the New Zealand 85 kg team. Wouldn't there be the risk of the national team being mentally scarred after 2 tough matches against them going into the Asian Emirates Championship, and we are first up against Hong Kong as well? We know what happened, what transpired last year as well against Hong Kong. So how do you look at that aspect?
I don't think that they'll be scarred at all. Actually, I thought last year, then first we really got a real test and proper practice game, like a proper test up front that helped us perform really good. We almost like beat both Korea and Dubai, and if it wasn't for the scrum. So that was, I don't think if you played the Korea, Dubai and Hong Kong up first up, that we would have done that well. So this year too, we hope and we know that with our planning with these games, we also have 2 other games Asian touring side where